talk about Hunter and his role in this whole fiasco that day at the swimming hole. I want to know why Candus Bly used Hunter that day. My name is Dee, and you're watching Dee Presents. Please hit the thumbs up. On June 15th, 2021, Candus Bly texted Hunter when she went to Kingsport to take her mother to the emergency room. And then Hunter called her. Did he know he was being used? It was like she bought him that couple of vapes and a twisted tea, and as soon as her job was done for him, she was ready to get rid of him. She wanted to take him right home. Oh, Hunter, you're not coming home with us. Hunter was on probation in Sullivan County when Candus gave him alcohol. That wasn't right. I know one thing, if Candus Bly did to my son or my grandson what she did to Hunter, I'd be ready to kick her ass myself personally. I would. Because the way she treated Hunter, she used Hunter that day for a specific job she wanted him to do. It might have been for an alibi. It might have been for something else.
Injured?
No,
Could she have been?
She could have been.
Help me understand that.
She could have been when she got back into the car, like how the water gets through your lungs and everything else.
Okay.
And how she was in the hot car while they went to the stores and everything.
Okay, so let's go from the moment you see her, and what did you do?
I just threw my shirt down and just threw myself into that water to see if she's okay.
Okay, so you got scared.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, walk me through those emotions.
I was just like, I don't really get scared or nothing, to be honest. I just get a little bit like spooked.
Got it.
Spooked.
Okay.
Like, how do I put that? Like, spooked. Like, I get a little bit like shook for a second.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. She got nervous.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
None of this makes any sense, but we're going to make it make sense. We're not going to stop. We're not going to quit. But listen to this part.
Well, because it was a short period of time
Right.
before they dropped me off that she said that she was missing.
Got it. Straight up.
So what do y'all think? It was a slip on Hunter's part? About nobody was even talking about what he was talking about at the time Chris was talking to him. That kind of just slipped out of nowhere. They weren't even talking on that subject that he brought up. Where is Summerwells? What did Candus Bly do with Summerwells? Where is Summerwells? Because we know. Candus knows. When this situation came about almost 23 months ago, nobody knew it was going to get this big. Nobody knew. Nobody had any idea that it was going to mushroom into what it has. Nobody. The parents didn't know, and those other people around didn't know it was going to get this big. And we're not going to stop. I know there are thousands and 10,000s of people out there that want for nothing more than the Summer to be found, dead or alive. We want some closure to the perils that befell this little girl in her life. She deserves justice. She deserves dignity. She deserves a proper burial. But Summer is never, ever coming home. And I wish people would quit saying that, because Summer will never come home, dead or alive. Her body will never, ever go home if she's found deceased. Summer is at home, and I hate to say it like that. Summer is safer now than she ever was. And we're not going to quit looking. We're not going to quit digging. And we're not going to quit turning over rocks and looking under rocks and looking under logs and going underwater and shuffling through a bunch of paperwork and riding the internet out to find out what happened to Summer Wells. We're not going to stop. We're not going to quit. We're not going to give up. I feel like I've been lied to and manipulated for almost 2 years in the Summer Wells case. The parents know, they have from the beginning, at least Candus does. Candus knows what happened to Summer because she put her somewhere. Or she sold her, she did something with Summer. And I'm learning more and more and more that trafficking in East Tennessee is something pretty common. There's a lot of shady characters in and around Rogersville and Kingsport, Tennessee, and that's what kind of people we keep having to come in contact with. People trying to tell us what happened, and they're just liars too. Most of them. 80% of the people in the Summer Wells case are liars. Donwells and Candus Bly didn't have to live like that. They didn't have to live like they did. Take a good look at that yard in different pictures of it. I've tried to think this out in every way that it can be thought out. And it doesn't make any sense. They're either leaving things out, I just don't know. But what if they drove 2 trucks to the horse pond that day? What if they drove the Suburban too with a canoe on top and just drove it to the horse pond, and then Candus went and took her mother and dropped her off in the Silverado and went and picked Hunter up? 2 trucks at the horse pond that day. Did they do something with Summer's body at the horse pond? Or did they bring her home and then Candus went and hid her body? Something is not adding up. I've been reviewing so many videos and so many live streams from Mr. Chris in the interview room, from Doug of No Thanks Investigates, from Josh Diaz at the lab, J is for Justice. I've been spending so many hours going through all this information and all these videos and live streams, and it can get to be too much. But usually when I know that I've had too much, I'll go take a walk or hit the woods. Things happen that day that we know nothing about, because they're not telling everything that happened that day. There were more events that day that were just as important. Well, why hasn't that been mentioned by anybody? Nobody. Not one YouTube creator has mentioned what I'm talking about. Not one. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of afraid to open that can of worms right now. I have been telling y'all all along, Candus Bly never called LE that day. Candus Bly never called 911 that day. She called Dawn, and Dawn called 911. Candus Bly never called 911 when Summer Wells was reported missing. You know, only I know when I need a break, and only you know when you need a break. But if you need a break, please stop and take one. Don't keep pushing yourself on this and this. Stop and take a break and get in touch with the things that you like to do and your interest in your real life. Don't put your mental health to the side over this, because your mental health is very important. And I try to be on top of my mental health because I know how important it is in the overall health of the body and the mind and the spirit. Take care of your mind and your body and your spirit, and you will take care of you. There's been a lot of creators that brought good to the Summerwells case in the overall scheme of things, but there's been a lot of creators that brought nothing but drama and crama and bullshit to the Summerwells case. There's been so many. When Evil Entered, that's a good channel. Another good channel I ran into that I really, really enjoyed hearing the lady give her thoughts on what happened to Summer and about Summer, and that channel is Crime Mystery Monsters. Y'all go check it out when you get a chance. When I first started covering the Summerwells case, I ran into so much hate and so much disgusting behavior from a guy pretending to be the Publishers Clearinghouse guy to roadblocks and trying to put viruses in my equipment and in my phone. From people who didn't feel the same way I felt about Don and Candus, I caught a lot of flack. I caught a lot of hate. It got so bad, I didn't even want to read my own comments on my own channel at one point in time. I went through a lot of unnecessary stuff because the same people that gave me the flack for being against Don and Candus Wells are now thinking the same way and the same thoughts that they gave me hell for. And it's just, everybody's changed their opinion so many times that it's crazy. It's not even sane. This is an insane, crazy case because of all the lies and deceit. This isn't how normal parents of a missing child act. It's not normal behavior. I'm telling y'all, it's been wrong from the beginning, because candusbly can never tell exactly what happened. She always wanted to get up and run out of interviews and run away from the truth. And now after 2 years almost, she tells us that Summer ate hot dogs that morning. Come on, y'all. After 2 years, she bought 2 vapes for Hunter and a twisted tea, and she couldn't even buy her own daughter a hot dog or a corn dog or a pancake rolled up in a sausage for her own daughter at Sonic. And I don't know how much the prices are of those items in Tennessee, but they're pretty much the same as Florida. And I know a twisted tea would cost you at least $4. And those vapes, they cost like $7.99 or $8.99 a piece. So we're talking $16, $18, $20 for vapes. That's $24, y'all. See what I'm talking about, Don? She be spending your money on boys, on young boys. I've always tried to understand why Summer didn't bond with Candus when she was born. So says Don Wells. He said Summer bonded with him, but not with Candus. And at first I could not understand why that would come to be. Why a little baby would not bond with their mother. But then I started thinking, Summer could feel the way Candus felt about her. She knew. Nobody had to tell her. Children pick up on things. Maybe she knew one day Candus would do something like this. We don't know that, but we don't know that she didn't either. But that was just something I was trying to understand. Why a newborn baby would bond with its father and not its mother. But she could sense Candus's feelings toward her. And we've heard that Candus didn't want a girl. And I know Candus didn't treat all her children the same. Did she bond with the boys? I'm sure she did. Why did Summer Wells not bond with Candus Bly? Why was Summer like Summer was? Because of her parents. Her parents. Those children were less than neglected. Their health, their appearances changed. And you know their behavior changed with it. As things started getting worse for them, I know in my heart and in my mind, their behavior had to change, and not for the better. Because when you grow up and you see things happening in your home that aren't good, that affects you. That affects you greatly in your learning and in your everyday life. We've already heard how Candus was asleep downstairs with Summer and Dawn, and some lady from down the road were doing something in the room with the boys asleep, and Jose walked in on them. And everybody's question was, well, who was the lady? Not mine. You know what my question was? Where were you sleeping, Jose? In the room with Candus and Summer? Or were you sleeping upstairs with boys and donwells disturb your sleep? Because if you were asleep in the house, you had to be one of those two places. But that's too bad Jose is no longer around to answer that question. It's a shame. And all those dates coincide. March 21, 22, March 19th, 22. They all coincide. If I could ask Don Wells one question and get a truthful answer, my question would be, Don, did you know Pumpkin Earl Taylor from right around Beach Creek area? Did you know the man? Did you know his dead body was found one day after Summer was reported missing? His body was found in Greenville, in a creek, one day later. Did you know that, Don Wells? I could kindly ask one more question. Did you know Ricky Crawford was keeping tabs on your little girl's disappearance on Facebook? Did you know that, Don Wells? Since we're asking questions, my third question would be, Don Wells, how often did you go to Greenville in your work time and your non-working time? How many times in 1 month did you go to Greenville, Don Wells? See, there was a lot of activity going on around that time that Don Wells was involved in. Don't let him fool you by saying, oh, we just hang around with church people. Don't believe that. That might have been what they were doing on the weekend, on Saturday. But I guarantee you, they were doing a lot more than that through the week and on the other day of the weekend. They went to the church on Saturdays to fulfill Don's community service hours that he had to complete while his wife Candus slept in church. And people on YouTube couldn't even figure out if it was her sprawled out like that or her teenage son in that red hoodie. I read the comments that said, "Oh, it can't be her, it has to be her son." No, it was candusbly. It wasn't her son. Passed out in church on the front row in a red hoodie with Don sitting beside her and Summer running all over the church. Community service hours. But he failed that probation anyway for being charged with drunken driving. We've heard from these people too, and they brought nothing but a bunch of confusion to Summer's case too. With Allie and her 14 people coming from New York, and it's just a bunch of bullshit. It's fluff in the story. Something to puff it up. More pieces to the puzzle. More cogs to the transmission. More teeth on the gears of the disappearance of Summer Wells. How many people have we heard from that didn't tell us the honest to God's truth? Because they had other motives and other things. If I were Allie and Great Grand Bun, I'd be mad too for what Candus did to Hunter. I would be mad too. I would probably be ready to go pay him a visit, but maybe Ellie told them not to say anything to Candus about it. But these people really haven't cleared anything up. These people really haven't given us much more insight, what we already knew. A couple of small details. But what these people have done is insert more questions. That's more fluff, more padding in the story. I'm just getting tired of being lied to, and I want someone to tell the truth about what happened to Summer Wells that day on June 15th, 2021, the day she was reported missing. And I've been saying for 4 or 5 months now, when I refer to June 15th, I never, ever say the day Summer came up missing. I used to say that, but I never say it anymore because Summer was reported missing. Something could have happened to Summer before June 15th. These people haven't given us any clarity on that day. These people have really just muddied the waters around the Summer Wells case with what they've said. They haven't given us any real clues. They've given us more questions. During that TIR interview, where did Allie get up and go to for over 5 minutes? Who did she talk to? Did she walk down to Candus's car and talk to her in the road? Because candusbly was driving by all during that interview. It was an intimidation thing, I think. Candusbly kept riding by Allie's house as Chris was on the porch talking to Hunter. She kept driving by repeatedly. That's intimidation. Don Wells isn't a good guy. Don Wells stole his step-brother-in-law's truck, went to his house and hot-wired the truck and stole the truck, tools, lawnmowers, stole everything that was in the shed and garage. and got caught for it. Don Wells stole cars from his own father and sold them for dope and money to get dope. Don Wells would put one of his children in the vehicle with him and go on a 3 or 4 day drug binge in Knoxville, Tennessee, where he usually always went on his crack cocaine drug binges. I've been to Knoxville, people. It's not a beautiful place for something like that. Knoxville is a rough place. They have children come up there missing every day of the week. What man would do that? What man would take his child to a place and then succumb to whatever behavior he felt like doing at the moment with his child in tow? That's not something a good father would do. It's not. Good fathers don't do such things with their children. Good fathers don't do such things at all, in fact. Don Wells is the type of person, and I have seen evidence of this, that thinks the whole world is out to get him. He has all his life. He says his stepmother and his stepfather hated him. Why? Don Wells' problems didn't start when he started doing drugs. Don Wells had those problems long before he ever touched a drug. That's why he did the drugs he did. Don Wells had issues inside of him, inside his mind, that weren't resolved, and they're still not resolved. How do I know all this? I know all this because I have been through those same things in my own real life. I've been there. That's why I can identify these behaviors in these addicts, because I am a former addict. Yes, you can change things in your life to become a better person, but you have to lay those things down. You have to stop them. And picking up another drug won't help. You have to lay it down, whatever your problem is with. You have to admit you have a problem first, and then lay it down. There's no way you can go from, I don't drink, we're not drinkers, to, okay, I've had enough, I'm cured. There's no way. First, you have to admit you have a problem. Then you got to take those baby steps to learn new ways to do things. And if you're taking baby steps, you would be crawling first. So it takes time to change your thinking, because before you change your thinking, you have to change some behaviors within yourself. And I know Don Wells hasn't done that, because we've seen his recent behavior was over the top and nowhere near the humbleness that he would have to find to be at the place that I'm trying to tell you he needs to be. Bible or no Bible, because there's going to come a day when Don Wells can't call on God, because God is going to be deaf to Don Wells' pleas for help when he's in hell and the bottom of his feet start blistering, and he's going to be yelling for help. And there's going to be people to help him there. But you see, their feet are going to be on coals just like his are. And they're going to be there to help him, all right. But they're going to pull him down into the flames of never ending hell. And Don Wells, if you do not know this, at this moment, that's exactly the same thing that candusbly is doing to you presently, in this life, in this age, and in this day, on May 13th, 2023, almost 23 months after your daughter was reported missing. She's pulling you down, Dawn. She's pulling you down. None of us have ever seen a case like this. The events that have happened are just outrageous. As far as the parents go, we're tired of being lied to. We're tired of being deceived. We're tired of being manipulated by con artists that have lived this way all their life. Every time the CPS started getting close on their trail, Don Wells would pick up his whole family and move. Not just once, time and time and time again, as we've learned. This isn't normal behavior when you're trying to raise a small family. Hiding from people and all the drugs and alcohol and the CPS getting involved, and there even been lies about that. Why can't people just tell the truth, what really actually happened in this case? Don Wells won't tell the truth. He tells non-truths. Why? Why have Candus and Don covered up something for so long and nobody can uncover it? I know there are smarter people out there than Don and Candus that have more sense than Don and Candus. Why can't somebody figure out what happened? Because Don is not ready yet, and Candus certainly isn't ready yet to even admit they have problems. A community conspiracy to cover it up. I believe Summer disappeared before June 15th. She was just reported missing June 15th, 2021. Can somebody please tell the truth about what happened to this little girl so we can find her or find her body that's never going back to 110 Ben Hill Road? So quit saying that, please. Don, you had it all wrong. June 18th, 2021, when you told us you'll see her in the resurrection. No, you won't. Summer will be there. But no, Don Wells, you will not be there. 'Cause you're going to be holding hands in the pits of hell with the one that drug you there. And that's your wife, Candusbly Wells. Can't you see, Don? Can't you see? You'd rather hold hands in the pits of hell with Candus than spend eternity with your daughter, Summer. Is that right, Don? 'Cause that's what we're seeing at this time. That's what we see. Oh, Don, wake up, man. Don't shortchange yourself. Don't think Candus will not lie to you, Don. She's been lying to you, cheating. Oh my God, she's been spending your money on other boys, on young boys. You're dumb, Don. You're dumb. Wake up. Wake up and pop the fucking balloons, buddy. Wake up. If you keep standing beside that, Don, we're going to have to start looking at you like that. Guilty of something. Because y'all don't know the truth. Y'all won't tell the truth. It'd take a dead fish to slap you upside the head to get you to know the truth. Because you've been running from it all your life. Nobody hated you, Don. You hated yourself. Your stepsisters didn't hate you, Don. Your stepmother never hated you, Don. And I'm sure your stepfather, Mr. Kelly, or whatever his name was, he didn't hate you either. But you have a way of making people hate you. You can watch people's behavior. You know how I know that you had a way of making people hate you? 'Cause you made Candus Hair hate you, Don. That's why. Your child's grandmother. You made her not even want to be around you. With all your Candus shenanigans. Dragging her into all this crap. Where is she now? She's hundreds of miles away from you guys now. And you know what? Rose Bly is being investigated these days once more. The whole Rose Bly case. And Candus might have had something to do with that one too. Candus didn't want to hold Summer's hand in life. Candus don't want to hold Summer's hand in death either. That's a great mother, Don Wells. A great mother you chose for your boys and your little girl. Thank y'all so much. Have a great Sunday and a great Sunday night.